Were these the last great Kobe's to be made? Not counting Protros? I think so. What's up guys, Vinny here with Sneaker Tweaker and welcome back to Mamba Mondays. Today's performance review is on the Nike Kobe 11 Elite. And this is the Nike ID version. This shoe is by far, I would say, one of my favorite. Granted, I always do say this about Kobe shoes, but this shoe is not just one of my favorite Kobe's, but one of my favorite hoop shoes of all time. Nike Kobe 11 in the Nike ID version specifically. And we'll get into why here in a little bit. But as you guys can tell, this one, this was Kobe's last model that he actually played in. This was made in 2016, I believe 2015, 2016. That was 2016 is when he retired. And as you guys can tell from the color theme, I couldn't get my hands on the Mamba Day ones. So I went on Nike ID and I created my own Mamba Day ones. So it is what it is. I really like the color scheme. I saw Kobe wear it in his last game. I watched that last game. I know Steph's historic game was happening at the same time as Kobe's last game, but Kobe was my guy. That's the guy I grew up watching, and I wouldn't have missed his last game for anything. So I watched it. I watched him hoop in those shoes. I watched everyone else have these Mamba Day colorways, and I went on to Nike and I had to have that color scheme. So I created these. These, like I said, performance-wise, look-wise, this shoe is not only very sentimental to me, being Kobe's last shoe that he wore, and this being essentially the Mamba Day colorway, but performance-wise, it performed amazingly. As always, let's start it off with the traction. The Nike Kobe 11 Elite features a multi-directional traction pattern, and this one is more of a nub traction pattern. I've heard a lot of people say with the translucent outsole on this shoe, they didn't have much luck. It really didn't grip the floor all too well. For me, I created a solid rubber outsole though, and it worked really well for me. I was able to play in these at my dusty ass local 24-hour fitness. I played at those courts for years and years, and these held up really nicely. They were able to grip on those floors on their dirtiest days, and I can't say that they had any clean days, and those are the courts I played in all the time. I was able to grip the floor really well and defend without eating it. So these things did a great job for me. Now, as for the durability, they held up decently playing for all those years. I played in these for years and they held up. Like I didn't have much of a shoe rotation at that time, so it was this or the Curry 2s. I think it was those two. It was just between those two shoes for a while, and the rubber compound, the outsole held up nicely. You do have some wear just on like the outline of the outsole, but besides that, they held up really nicely. Now you do also get a decent feedback from this, so if you like, there's some squeak to it. Again, as I've mentioned many times before, squeak doesn't equate to performance, but if you do want it, these things have it. Now, you may not be able to get a hold of these shoes, especially the ID version, unless you get on like GOAT or StockX, but telling you right now, the prices are most likely gonna be probably around 300, 400 plus. That's with most Kobe's, and a lot of that, unfortunately, is because of his name and just what happened to him. So his shoes became more of a reseller's dream, I guess you would say. It's unfortunate why it is the way it is, because Kobe's, you can get them for a decent price even on the resale market, just depending on the colorway, I guess, while he was alive. But after he passed away, resellers just really gouged up those prices. And because the prices are what they're at, I don't know if I would say this is a great shoe to take outdoors and really wear down the traction, because as you guys have seen, my outsole has worn down a good amount, especially on these outer areas right here, playing indoors and indoors only. But that's playing indoors for years and years. So if you guys are planning on playing in them and potentially switching out shoes for another one, then by all means go for it, and especially if you don't mind spending the money. The Nike Kobe 11 Elites, whenever you did Nike ID them, you had the option of adding on a full-length Zoom drop-in midsole, and that's exactly what I did. Now, this cushion setup was absolutely amazing. It's still probably today by far one of my favorite cushion setups. I really love Zoom Strobel, but this iteration of Zoom, just even full length over the Zoom Strobel, is one of my favorite ones all time. Now the shoe is about 7 to 8 years old, so you can see a decent amount of like yellowing on the Zoom unit, and like I said, because I've played in it a lot, so a little disgusting, but it is what it is. I bought these to hoop in them. However, as for the experience, like I said, it's one of my favorite. You get good impact protection, not good, I would say for a shoe of this caliber, you get great impact protection and you get great court feel. Not only that, this iteration of a drop-in midsole is the only one I probably like the sock liner that's on there, and it worked really well in this version of it. Now there are shoes where I don't really care for the sock liner, the GT cuts being one of them, I guess I would say the GT cut 2s. This one, I really liked it, just the way it was done. It worked really well for me. On the midsole, you also have these lateral pieces, or the foam kind of goes up on the lateral side to help with containment. So that's there as well. But overall, this cushion setup, again, is one of my favorites. And I take the Zoom unit whenever I hoop in my Kobe 8s or my Kobe 9s. I'll put this in there rather than the Lunar Lawn drop-in midsoles in there. I honestly don't really, the Lunar Lawn drop-in midsoles over there have almost been used like 0 times because I got these before I got those. So whenever I got those, I just took out the midsoles right away and I put these in. As for the fit, these do fit true to size, and right from the get-go, I would say I didn't really have any issues as far as like squeezing or pinching or anything like that. Now, I might not remember because afterwards I had so much fun playing in this shoe, but from my memory, I don't remember any squeezing or pinching. Fit true to size, that was good for me lengthwise, widthwise, all of that good stuff. As for the materials and the support, the Kobe 11 Elites, and I guess the ID version features, this is a full-length fly knit upper, and the ID version particularly, I would say, was a little bit more like fusey and plasticky than the regular version, just because it came out fresh and it came out the way you created it. So whenever it first got to me, it was, I guess, the upper was kind of stiff and plasticky, but I took time, I broke it in, I played it in a lot, and it became softer and softer for me. So it was a great setup. On top of that, you do also have this nice outrigger right here in the forefoot area. So for stability, that worked really well. You also have this like nice snakeskin design just going all throughout the tongue, but you have this like leather portion with the Mamba logo right here, with the Mamba shield right here, and the tongue itself is really nice and puffy. So lace pressure wasn't really an issue, and I cranked down these laces all the way. There isn't really much of a heel counter, I would say, but like in this heel area, it does get pretty stiff. You do also have the designs right here, just like in the Kobe 10s, where the stitching from his Achilles surgery is on the left shoe, and then his Mamba shield is on the right shoe, and that's just to signify, again, his Achilles surgery and his Achilles tear. Overall, the materials and the support, I would say, did their job as they're supposed to, and they broke in really nicely. In the Nike ID version, like I said, whenever you order it, it does feel kind of plasticky just because it's more freshly made than the mass-produced ones. Kobe 11s, as I mentioned, were by far one of my favorite all-time, not just Kobe shoes, but hoop shoes. Great traction, great cushion, especially with this full-length drop-in Zoom midsole, and just the support aspects were really nice. Now, with a lot of these drop-in midsole shoes with the Kobe's, particularly with the 11s, you really didn't get any shank plates or anything in here. So this shoe can actually really bend and twist unless this is in there. As for the weight, the Kobe 11s with the drop-in midsole in a size 9 weigh in at 13.3 ounces, and without the midsole, they weigh in at 10.5 ounces. So I would say kind of average weight. I mean, you're not going to play in the shoe without the midsole, so weight-wise, I would say for a size 9, it's around average. For the price, these retailed in at $200 for the Elite model. These ones, I can't remember exactly. I think I paid around $260 plus tax, because not only did I Nike ID it, but I also added on the drop-in full-length Zoom midsole. I believe it was $260. This is probably the most I've ever paid for a sneaker retail. So if I didn't buy something resell, something that I really wanted, retail wise, this is the most I've ever paid for a sneaker. And that's because I wanted this colorway, so I Nike ID'd it. I mean, granted, it's missing like the heel tab and just the overall rest of the design as far as materials and everything, but I got the colorway that I wanted, and I got a full-length Zoom drop-in midsole. I don't regret it. Still one of the best shoes I've ever bought, and I will probably still hoop in these every now and then because, again, it's still one of my all-time favorite hoop shoes. As I mentioned before, a lot of people have also asked about the socks that we wear whenever we go hoop and where we get them from. Answer is we get them from Amazon. If you guys do want them, there's a link in our bio, so click that, head on over, and grab yourself a pair. Now, the socks, they actually come in a pack of 3, and that pack of 3, I would say, costs just about as much as one pair of Nike Elite socks. And these socks are pretty much Nike Elite socks without the branding. They're cushioned, they have ventilation, they're quarter length. I mean, I like them quarter length, or you can get the high socks as well, but I like the quarter length. And if you, like I said, if you guys want them, click that link below. If you guys have played in the Kobe 11s or the Kobe 11 Elites or any Kobe's and you guys want to share your experience, comment down below. If there are any other shoes you guys would like us to review, again, comment down below. For more content like this, please like, subscribe, and follow. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.